Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the extraordinary meeting of the Council of North Norfolk District Council on Wednesday, the 29th of January, 2025. Good. So do I have any apologies for absence?
Yes, we've got apologies from Councillor Bailey, Councillor Dixon, Councillor Fitch-Tillett, Councillor Fitzpatrick, Councillor Fletcher, Councillor Hankins, Councillor Hynek, Councillor Netherway, Councillor Patterson, Councillor Penfold, Councillor Porter, Councillor Punchard, Councillor Toy and Councillor Withington.
I'm actually very pleased to see Councillor Punchard here, so I hope you're feeling better. Very nice to have you back. Thank you very much, Emma. Do we have any declarations of interest from members on any of the matters to be discussed? None, thank you. Do we have any items of urgent business? No, thank you. And so we move on to the substantive topics. So we have the recommendations from Cabinet from the 20th of January. And Councillor Adams, will you be introducing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So certainly recognise these as the correct recommendations and thank members who contributed to the working party and to members of the public who responded to the consultation, and certainly to our officers who worked in respect of this too. So certainly move the recommendation, but I'd like to pass over to Councillor Fredericks, perhaps just to say a couple more words about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, members. I'd like to take you line by line through the report. No, I wouldn't. No. But what I will say is that a working party was formed to review the council tax support scheme that we have. So thank you very much to that working party. The Council Tax Support Working Party were formed to do the work and were presented with several options that they were able to choose from and work through. So the conclusion of that is the Working Party recommended option 2 as their preferred option with all the permutations and selected this as the option to go public consultation. Full details are in the report if you want to find it. But the long and short of it is that the recommendation actually gives a flat rate of support. It takes an awful long time to work out these different discounts for different people, but it gives a better flat rate for support, which is really, really great news, while cutting down on administration and takes less of the person's income into account while we're working out council tax support. So I would definitely like to move this forward. I'm happy to second or propose. Thank you.
So Councillor Adams, are you proposing it? Okay. Good. Do we have any questions from members on this? Oh, sorry. Councillor Mancini.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a very quick clarification, if I may, from Councillor Shires. I saw the news yesterday about Look East, and they said that the money from County Council, which has come back to North Norfolk, was going to be for temporary accommodation and affordable housing. In the report, it says that housing elements and other projects. I'm trying to figure out, is the money ring fenced for?
Councillor Mancini Baldwood, that's in the next agenda item.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want to raise it as a question then?
Right, yeah, no, that's fine. I'll try and remember. Great, thank you.
Any other questions from members? No? All those in favour? Yep. Lovely, thank you. Sorry, I didn't put my microphone in. So we're moving to item 5, which is the calculation of the council tax base for 25-26. I look to you, councillor Shires.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the reason that we've called the extraordinary meeting is due to the timing of the agreement of the 100% premium on second homes. So apologies for dragging you all out, but it is a very, very welcomed reason for doing so. So if we cast our minds back, some members won't have remembered where we were at that point when we set the intention to charge this premium on second homes, but were unfortunately delayed in implementing it last year due to the delay in the levelling up bill. But we are here today to agree the council tax base, which includes the charge on the second homes premium. So I'll hand over to our leader, Councillor Adams, because there is some additional information that he may wish to provide.
Yes, certainly. So in respect of the work on the second homes premium, I would very much like to thank our officers who contributed to the negotiations, but also to their counterparts at the other authorities too, and similarly my own counterparts at those authorities. And really just to, I suppose, get straight to it and answer the question that was raised, we'll be putting this money to the absolute best effect to address the housing and homelessness crisis in North Norfolk. But there will be a variety of outcomes likely, certainly including likely investment in further temporary accommodation, but quite possibly investment in new affordable housing in different ways too. So there could be a range of different responses. Certainly that will be reported back to on the cabinet agendas as we go forward, but it is going to make a big difference to a lot of families' lives, and it's really significant that we've managed to get this additional premium to North Norfolk. Obviously, the way the legislation was written, we were only guaranteed 8% of that money, so it is a significant additional amount. Of that 1.7 million plus the baseline figure. There is some money coming forward to deal with the administration as well. And just to say the figures are slightly pessimistic, but we're planning for levels of attrition in terms of change in numbers of second homes. But this has been something that's been agreed between the officers and members at King's Lynn and Yarmouth and ourselves, and certainly took that negotiation to County Hall, and thankfully after some time we've come to this conclusion. So obviously, just to remind you, this is only an annual agreement. We have to do the same thing next year.
Okay, thank you very much. Other questions from members? Of course, Councillor Mancini Boyle wants to speak.
Sorry, I was a little bit out of sync before. Yeah, I just wanted to know, to clarify, so it's not basically being, it's 1.7 million you said, was it, roughly? So that's not being ring fenced for affordable housing and temporary accommodation. What are the other projects, or do you not know what they are at the moment?
We'll have a range of projects. It depends what's available in terms of housing projects coming up. Clearly, we've got an amount in our capital budget, which was set for borrowing in terms of temporary accommodation. We've seen numbers peaking at over 80 children in temporary accommodation recently, certainly in excess of sort of 65 households. So clearly, that's got to be one of our major priorities moving forward. And for those families, it's a significant impact, but also there's a significant cost impact still on the local authorities, and it's much better for them to be in a self-contained property, but certainly in the longer run, it's investment in affordable housing to address the long-term causes. But there may be other solutions as well, and don't forget, of course, the county council get their element. I'd encourage them actually to spend that on social care and children's services. That's where their pressures are, and it's right. We haven't talked to the police actually recently about how they are intending to spend their proportion of the money, that 14% or so. I think it's fair to say they've been given a very harsh deal in the settlement, and I don't think this is the year to start making those sort of requests of the police, but I hope that there will be the opportunity to spend a significant proportion of that money within the district, and certainly within Kingston and Yarmouth as well. And don't forget, of course, the parish councils, depending on where they've set their premium, because if they've kept their premium flat or even just a small increase, if they've jumped the gun a bit, they won't see anything from it, but they'll get a proportion of that as well. So some of them might see dips in their precept if they've not risen to accommodate a rise as such. But obviously time will tell in terms of the impact as well, how many we see drop off, the attrition rate, etc. So all sorts of things will happen, but we'll keep monitoring those. But certainly various different things we'll be doing with the money. So not going to commit to this and there, and in terms of locations or exactly yet, but certainly temporary accommodation is very significantly high on that list.
Thanks for that. As long as you're not knocking it off your deficit.
Yes, Councillor Shaz.
Members who've been up to date with the overview scrutiny papers and the cabinet papers we presented before that, you will see that these figures were not actually used to balance the budget. This is on top of a balanced budget. So it's going to be ring fence for what we need to use it for rather than use to balance the budget. We've managed to balance the budget without it. And if we look forward to the 3 years that followed where we had the 9 million deficit, that sits at just above 2. And these figures have not been incorporated into the future figures. So because it's going to be an annual negotiation, we won't be incorporating this into the budget process. It will be an extra that will be reinvesting in what we need.
Councillor Cushing.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I take no pleasure in imposing additional taxes on anyone, but this is obviously an essential step to help ease the homelessness crisis in North Norfolk. I do think it's important we explain to second homeowners, though, that this is what we're going to use the money for in terms of addressing those desperate needs in terms of that. So I'm actually very pleased that Councillor Adams actually confirmed it will be, all the money will be ring fenced to put towards temporary housing or anything that relates to that. What I would suggest, and I'd quite like to see as the year proceeds, as we get that money in, actually where we actually can we actually see where that money is being spent. I appreciate you won't know that answer now, but I think as we go through, obviously there is in the capital programme, there is money put aside for temporary accommodation, for example. I do think that would be helpful as well in terms of doing that. Thank you.
Did you want to come back on that?
Well, only just to say, obviously we'll be monitoring the use of the money primarily through the cabinet, but it's quite likely that it will emerge in budget monitoring as well, I presume. So certainly you'll see that, but of course we will be very much publishing when we've made our first investment use of that money. The first house we've bought or invested in will certainly it will be demonstrated what we're doing. So look forward to that day. Thank you.
Any further questions? No? Okay, shall we go to the vote? It's going to be a recorded vote, please.
Thank you. I'll read your names: for, against or abstain. Councillor Adams. Councillor Beattie.
For.
Councillor Bayes. Councillor Birch. Councillor Blathwaite. Councillor Boyle. Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Butikofer. Councillor Cushing.
For.
Councillor Fisher.
For.
Councillor Fredericks. For. Councillor Gray. Councillor Heinrich.
For.
Councillor Holiday. Councillor Leith. She's not here. Councillor MacDonald.
For.
Councillor Mancini Boyle. Councillor Ringer.
For.
Councillor Shires. For. Councillor Spagnola.
For.
Councillor Taylor.
For.
Councillor Toy.
For.
Councillor Vardy. Councillor Varley. And Councillor Vickers. For. Councillor Punchard.
For.
Thank you. It's unanimous.
Thank you very much. Good. So now we go to item 6, which is exclusion of press and public, which we don't need to do. And private business, of which we have none. So I hate to tell you guys, but you're free to go home. I know you'll be very disappointed.